Hi everybody, welcome. This is the Anxiety Compass Facebook group and you are watching the Power Hour on this wonderful Monday evening. And every Monday we bring you something live, whether it's the Power Hour with an expert, whether it's me telling you stuff that I've learned for the week, whether it's a process I've been through or a new bit of learning or some experience I've had with a client. Or it might even be a live hypnotherapy session, which I do sometimes. So this is the Anxiety Compass Facebook group, and it's for anyone interested in anxiety-free living. So if that's you, then this group might be for you. So my name is Garozzo, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm a truly multi-passionate woman. I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. I am a singing teacher, and I'm also the founder of Inspiring Talks Brighton. And I also do a little bit of singing on the side as well, but I'm not going to talk about that just yet. So I'm going to go on and invite some people to join us. This is where it gets a bit multitasking. So I'm going to invite some people, and as I do, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the wonderful, amazing guest we have on this evening. Now, her name is, I've got to get this right, Danielle Odjighoro. That's right, yeah? And Danielle Odjighoro she's known as the organised one, right? And I pride myself on being quite organised, but sometimes I'm not. And I definitely would like to get some tips from her. So she's the founder of her own company called Life More Organised. And she is basically an administration and organisation expert. And in her own words, this is something I pinched off of her website. She says, "I'm obsessed with organising and decluttering, even from a young age. I would often spring clean my bedroom and move all the furniture around, finishing by sorting through toys and belongings, as it gave me such a great sense of achievement. I've always worked to lists, maintained spreadsheets and kept several diaries. Hence why I enjoy organising myself and organising others." But welcoming 3 children into my life has resulted in a whole new level of organisation in my home and work. My entire life would be complete chaos without it, so everything has to have a home. I totally get that. Organised and neatly stored away using simple storage solutions which help me to locate what I'm looking for quickly and without hassle. Just nearly finished organising inviting everybody on the page. She has over 13 years experience in office management, business administration, accounting and project management, and it's given her the perfect skill set to start her own business. So I'm going to bring her on now. Let me just get rid of that. There she is. Oh, good. There we are. Let's bring her on. Oh, not you, Rachel. There we go. Adding. There she is.
Hi.
Hello, Danielle. How are you doing, lovely lady?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to see you on here. So thank you very much for turning up this evening. We did have a few technical issues, but we have resolved them now, haven't we? We thought we were going to be doing, I thought I was going to be doing something else, but thankfully she's here. So Danielle, I would like to know, because we've never met each other, by the way. This is the first time I am speaking to Danielle, and I saw Danielle on a Facebook group called One Girl Band. Is that right?
Yeah.
Was it One Girl Band? Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
It's for entrepreneurs, but you're based in Wales, is that right?
Yes, I live in Cardiff. So the professional organising decluttering is based in Cardiff, and then the virtual assistant business support is remote. So I work with people everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay. So let's hear about you. Let's hear about your story, because I know you're an anxiety sufferer as well, aren't you? Or you have been. So I'm interested to find out from you what your anxiety story is and how decluttering and organizing stuff in your life has helped you with your anxiety, because we're a bunch of anxiety sufferers here, so we need all the help we can get, really.
Okay,
So
so
far away.
I've suffered with anxiety probably longer than I actually realised. It was only the last 6 to 12 months that I actually realised it was anxiety that I was suffering with. But it's probably been maybe about 4 or 5 years since I fell pregnant with my first child. I've had 3 children really close together. So I've got three children, 4 and under. I had 3 very difficult pregnancies. They were very high risk. I was very poorly. I had hyperemesis, and which is like a very severe form of sickness, and also I had liver problem and a heart condition as well. So that kind of started the anxiety off. And it was like peaks and troughs. It would get better, then it would get worse again, and then it would go away. And it wasn't until I think my son was maybe about 2 months old. He's now 10 months old. I read an article on, I think it was Facebook actually, and I was reading through and I was thinking, oh my gosh, this sounds like me. I've got no patience. I'm constantly on edge. I'm constantly worrying. I think about the same thing over and over again. And I was like, this is so me. I have got anxiety, and it was kind of a relief. Being able to put a name to it, because I thought, oh my god, I'm going insane, I'm going crazy, this is not normal. And I went to the GP about it, explained my symptoms, and they was like, you have anxiety and probably postnatal depression as well. So I started seeing someone. It wasn't exactly counselling, but it was kind of like a self-help therapy, and it just wasn't working. I worried about being able to do the booklets they gave me, whether I was answering them correctly. So I found that cleaning, decluttering, organising was my way of like an outlet. And thinking back about it now, there was a kind of a pattern as to my behaviours, like connected to anxiety. So my husband would be like, are you okay? And I'd be like, I'm fine, thanks. Why are you asking? Like, out of the ordinary. He's like, well, I've come home and you're emptied the whole kitchen cupboard, everything's on the kitchen floor, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just organising it, I'm just cleaning it, I'm just organising it. And then the next week he'd come home and I'd be in our storage cupboard and everything would be pulled out and I'd be in there. And it was just a huge relief to be able to do something to kind of ease that anxiety. With 3 children, the place is constantly a mess, so having those systems in place would help me kind of keep on top of things without having that added stress of worrying about it as well. So it definitely helps.
So was your house and your environment in a bit of a mess to begin with? Is that what caused your anxiety? Because everything was, I mean, obviously what caused your anxiety was, you know, probably the big change, having children. But did you feel that the chaos in your house was contributing to your anxiety, or was your house organised anyway?
It's always been tidy, and I wouldn't say it was disorganized, but there was improvements to be made, if that makes sense. So, for example, the children's bedroom, all their toys were just on shelves. They were just thrown in corners because they wouldn't keep them tidy. They'd be in like the big plastic tub buckets that you could have, and they would all just be chucked in there, and they would empty them out all over the floor to find what they wanted to play with. And most of the time they couldn't find the parts because they got lost or they were in another bucket or so on. So I found by going through each room, looking what needs to be improved, that really helped. But originally, I wouldn't say it was always tidy, but it was probably a bit chaotic behind cupboard doors, in cupboards, under beds, that sort of thing. So to the eye, it looked fine, but when you opened those cupboards and things like that, things would fall out.
What's Rachel said? Wow, this is me. After having, excuse me, my son 12 years ago, I would start decorating and clearing rooms. My ex-husband would come home to all sorts. So refreshing to listen to you that I'm not alone.
Definitely not
Oh,
alone.
that is
Definitely not
awesome.
alone.
So what else did you do then? So you were clearing cupboards. Give us an example of the kinds of activities that you would do. I mean, how would you sort through stuff? Do you have a method of sorting
Yeah,
through stuff?
so I don't follow any of these, like there's a lot of methods that you can actually follow specifically for organising, but I don't actually follow any of them specifically. It's just what I felt right with, what I went with. I don't know, for example, sounds a really silly one, but I did my fridge recently. Completely emptied the fridge out, cleaned it. We had like organising boxes for everything. They were like clear containers, and everything was organised into like a category: dairy, snacks, pre-cooked food, meats and things like that, vegetables. So every area of the fridge would have a specific category, and the same with cupboards as well. In the kitchen, we have got specific cupboards for certain things. Everything has a neat basket to be stored in, so it's easy to pull out of the cupboards and put back neatly and things like that. So it would just literally start with emptying the cupboard, sorting it out, sorting what needs to go in the bin, anything that I could donate to a food bank would go to a food bank that I hadn't used or had been sat there for ages. And then it was just a case of organising it into categories and making it look neat and tidy and usable.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. And I have to be honest, I'm a real stickler. I love organising. In fact, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you my bookshelves because I think this takes organising to the nth degree. But
I've got them in rainbow.
so can you see how
Yes.
the blue, the green, then I've got black, purple, then it goes down to white, then it goes down to red at the bottom. Whoops.
Yeah.
And when I was doing that, I remember like being awake and I have to do this. I'd seen somebody with a color-coded bookshelf, and I was like, I need that in my life.
It's
And
so therapeutic.
it really is.
Mm,
So I was doing it at
definitely.
like midnight, and I could not stop until it was all done. And the thing is, you might have got. It's not just about color coding your books. You actually have to like put the blocks of color in the right place according to how many books you've got in that color.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a sort of spatial awareness maths test as well as being quite
Yeah.
visual, but the satisfaction
Yeah.
afterwards was
I
brilliant.
think
And because I'm very visual, I know what a book looks like in my mind. I can just kind of go to the color and I know
which one
where
it
it will
is. Yeah,
be.
definitely. I think there's like, especially with myself and other people that I've helped with organising decluttering, is the huge sense of achievement it gives afterwards. And I think that's one of the big reasons why it helps with anxiety so much, is because you get that instant sense of self-achievement, whereas with other things they usually take time. It takes time to see results, whereas you do a little project, I don't know, say 5 minutes, and within that 5 minutes you've achieved something. It's manageable and it's not overwhelming, so it's very doable for everybody to do in bite-sized chunks. So it's definitely something that helps.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I think when you are anxious or depressed, sometimes things can seem hugely
Yeah,
overwhelming.
definitely.
But if you just do like one drawer a day or one little thing at a time, it creates that positive feedback loop in your mind of,
Does. Yeah.
right, you know, especially if you're a procrastinator, or if you're sort of, if you've had low energy for a lot of time, a long period of time, and you're not used to sort of moving very quickly through life, then I think, you know, being able to see the result is so good for your sense of self-worth.
Yes, definitely.
Do you find that it helps your sense of
Oh,
self-worth as well?
definitely. I find, especially since having three children, it overtakes your life completely. And I don't think anybody's prepared for how much it does change your life. And then you kind of lose yourself a little bit as a person, and then you just become mum. So being able to do something for myself, which makes my life easier, and be able to achieve something really simple, is huge. And it doesn't have to be a massive project. As I said, my house was really organised before I had children and in between having children. But when anxiety hits, normal everyday things just become so difficult to do. Even simple things like doing dishes, putting them away, doing laundry, things like that can become so overwhelming. Being able to do smaller chunks is so helpful, and it's, as I said, it's that instant self achievement, being able to keep you going as well. We recently did a 30-day 5-minute decluttering challenge on our Instagram page, which was basically each day I would post a 5-minute task, and you go away, do it in 5 minutes, and complete it, and it's done. That's all you have to think about. And you can almost declutter your whole house doing that, like room by room. There was really simple things on there, like cutlery drawer, mug cupboards, linen, sorting out through your linen and things like that. It's very, very manageable, bite-sized chunks, and things that can be done in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? You know, we're all so busy, and I think if we can do something in 5 minutes, then it's probably likely that we're going to do it, and
Exactly.
and we might actually enjoy it and spend a little bit longer on it as well.
Exactly. Yeah, you can set, what I advised for the challenge was to set a timer for 5 minutes. Because if you were dreading it that much and you really didn't want to do it, knowing that after that 5 minutes you can stop, then great. But if you were enjoying it that much, you don't have to. You can carry on doing it. So there's always that option as well. You can only do what you feel like you can manage and cope with at that time. Nobody else is going to be able to convince you to do otherwise. So even doing it that way is definitely a good way to move forward as well. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think so, because I think often, you know, especially with depression, I find actually people with anxiety, or if I'm experiencing anxiety, but I'll be busy, busy, busy all the time, actually, and it'll be much easier to be active. But actually, it's the depression side of things where your body is very still, very lethargic, and there's real inertia there.
Yeah.
Actually, just you need somehow to get your body going, you know, whether it's just going for a walk or doing the dishes or something, but very often you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And often there's that real low sense of self-worth attached to the way that you're feeling. But if you can do a little something to make you a little bit productive in 5 minutes or something, then that's
Definitely.
great. Often if I'm in a bad mood, and I you know, just a bit grumpy or something, and if I'm waiting for a client, I've got 10 minutes or something, I will go into a drawer and I'll just you know, sort it out, organize it. But I love those like drawer organizers you can get from IKEA. And so, you
So
know,
you know whether
your
I'll
drawer.
be able to show you. I'm actually at my dressing table because it's the only it's a little bit
Show
messy
us.
at the moment, but let me see if I can turn the camera around. So this is just one example. This is actually from IKEA. I don't know whether you can see it very well. So
Yeah.
it's got little compartments in there. Let's show you this one. And it
Oh, that's a good one.
just keeps everything tidy. So these are from TK Maxx. TK Maxx is really, really good for storage like this. I've had
Yeah.
these for years, these baskets. I'm not actually sure where they're from. Um,
Yeah.
but there's loads of things on my Instagram page which we tend to post. Oh, turn you back around.
Where are you?
Tend to post ideas of as well. IKEA is really, really good for baskets, drawer dividers, anything like that is really, really good from IKEA. TK Maxx have a brilliant home section, which sells exactly the same things, and it's where I got the majority of my fridge containers from. And another one recently who've started doing it is Home Bargains and Asda. They sell the clear containers that go in the fridge as well, so they're not overly expensive. Home Bargains is probably your cheapest option. Their baskets are super cheap. I'm a little bit basket crazy. I have baskets absolutely everywhere because they're just so good to keep everything neat and tidy in. So if you can get some baskets, make them as pretty as you like. You can decorate them yourselves. You can buy patterned ones, because they will literally change your life. They're amazing. I love baskets. They're everywhere. So just simple things like that we suggest that you just put in place, even if it means having, for example, a linen cupboard. People don't realise how many bed sheets they have, or duvet covers and pillowcases. I personally only have 2 sets, so I alternate them on a weekly basis. My children have 3 sets each purely because of accidents and things like that, and they just get alternated. They're all folded with inside a pillowcase, and then they're just pulled out. They stack really nicely, and they're in their own boxes for each person or room. And it's just a really, really simple way of implementing a very simple storage solution, but it's going to save you so much time, and there's so much less clutter as well.
I like the idea of folding your linen inside a pillowcase, so you just pull out one pillowcase with it all stuffed in.
Exactly, yeah. It's very, very
Yes, brilliant.
handy. Very handy. You can do the same with
Genius.
towels as well. Again, 2 towels per person is sufficient, and then maybe like 2 to 4 for guests if you have guests over regularly. And again, folding them in a certain way can make them look a lot nicer, can free up space in your linen cupboard or shelving in your bathroom. And it's just really, really simple things. Nothing too dramatic, nothing too time consuming either, because obviously you don't want to be spending 20 hours on something over a couple of days, which is going to demotivate you. It's going to put you off doing it. It's again, I keep coming back to, it's very small, bite-sized, manageable chunks, so you don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah. What I find as well with it decluttering is it stops you from repeat buying.
Yes.
Because if you know what you've got, you don't buy. I remember going out with this guy once, years and years and years ago, and I moved into his flat, and I opened the cupboard under the sink. You know, the infamous cupboard under the sink stinks. It's like it was jam packed, full to the brim of cleaning fluids and everything. And you know, I pulled out 5 bottles of window cleaner because he'd forgotten that he'd got window cleaner. I wouldn't mind, but he didn't even have that many windows. And I was just like, okay. So I kind of decluttered, but it felt great, and it felt a little bit like putting my identity into that place as well. And there's nothing like an organised household as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's not.
It eliminates stress, and it makes you feel in control of yourself, doesn't it? And it sort of feeds your identity, makes you feel in control, and also makes you feel like you can take on a little bit more. So there's less overwhelm, you know, especially in this day and age when everyone's working all the hours God sends as well. So
definitely, from my point of view, I definitely do it from not as a control freak kind of way, but more of a being able to do something for myself when I am feeling overwhelmed or really anxious, being able just to kind of lose myself in something, because it just gives you such a great sense of self-achievement. being able to do something for yourself, by yourself, and in such a little
Mm.
space of time is so big, so big. And it is an achievement in itself, even if it's something like sorting out your cutlery drawer. You've managed to do
Yeah.
something that day, which you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have thought of before, and
Yeah.
it all helps.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's such an interesting subject, and it's not a it's not a subject that we come across a lot. You
No.
know, being in this group, the Anxiety Compass, and you don't. When I saw your post, I was like, wow, that's so interesting for people with anxiety, because if your place is a mess and you can't find anything, you know, like you say, everything's got to have a home,
Yeah.
then you're not faffing around thinking, where are my headphones, where's my gym locker, where's my paracetamol, where are my keys, where are my sunglasses. You don't want them scattered all over your house in different places. You want everything to have a home. And
Exactly.
I know past boyfriends have kind of gone a bit crazy with all my ideas that everything's got to have a home.
Yeah.
And but I couldn't live, I couldn't not live like that, you know. I need to
No.
know where everything is.
I definitely live
But
by the quote of tidy home is a tidy mind. It
yeah.
definitely helps. I mean, the stress of clutter itself can induce anxiety on its own without
Mm,
having other contributing factors to it as well. And not only that
mm,
as well, I find that when you declutter somewhere, you tend to hoard things. If you're a hoarder and you love to keep things like a bus ticket from 6 years ago, you're not going to need that. You don't need that. Um,
mm,
it's simple things like getting rid of those things is like excess baggage as well, especially if certain items hold memories, and they could be really bad memories and pleasant memories. Unless you go through each of those things and sort them out, organize and declutter, you may not even realize that it's there. So being able
mm,
to clutter that, organize it, and then being able to get rid of it, that can help as
mm,
well to relieve um, bad memories, bad karma, and things like that as well. So it's definitely worth
mm.
having a go at being able just to give it a bash, even if it's just to get a bit of self achievement
Yeah.
in a day, or even doing it once a week for 5 minutes to start off with and building it up, because you'll probably find once you start, you actually can't stop.
Yeah, it's those milestone moments, isn't it? It's like, you know, if you split up from your relationship and you're like, right, you want to get rid of all of his stuff or all of her stuff, and you know, for me, it's I have a box with all my memories in, like tickets, stubs, Valentine's Day cards, Christmas cards. So I have a box, and then whenever I'm feeling nostalgic, I'll just go to that box and I'll get it out, rather than having all of that sentimental stuff mixed in with my everyday practical stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be getting nostalgic when I'm trying to put my makeup on and get ready to go out, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
These
about it's about compartmentalizing the energy of your home, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
you know, books are there for the intellectual side, your makeup's there for the creative, getting ready, going out, your sentimental stuff is over there, your games are over there, your food's over there. It's like different tasks, different energy,
exactly.
requires a different space in your home.
Yeah, and
So
that's what
yeah.
organising and decluttering helps to establish as well. There's no
Mm,
point in having a Valentine's Day card propped up on your dressing table, and then every time you're doing your makeup, you're going to start crying and getting upset and having to relive that memory.
yeah.
But again, if that Valentine's Day card gives you bad memories, then there's no reason to keep it. You should
Mm,
either bin it or cut it up,
mm,
recycle it, make something new out of it, and put it to good
yeah.
use and make a good memory
Yeah.
out of it, rather than having it sitting around bringing you back to that place of something that's either really a really bad memory or really unpleasant for you as well.
Yeah, Rachel said something. After having my daughter 8 months ago, I hated looking at clothes that no longer fitted me. I've put them all, I have put all of my size 8 to 10s in the charity bag for tomorrow's collection. Size 12 all the way now. I was emotional as to I and I was emotional as to how better that made me feel.
It
There you
is
go.
definitely one of the services that we offer is decluttering your and organising your wardrobe. And I find that a lot of people who have either gained a lot of weight through pregnancy, illness, not being active enough, or having a really poor diet, they tend to keep clothes for years and years and years. And I've actually done it myself. I have like a handful of clothes pre-pregnancy, which are probably never going to fit me again, but I couldn't bear to get rid of them. And by sorting out your clothes and being realistic, it's all about being realistic and being honest with yourself. If you genuinely believe in your heart that you will one day fit back into them, I tend to say between 6 and 12 months is a perfectly good time frame to say, if I can reach that within that time, then it's okay to keep them. If you're looking past a year, you're probably not going to wear them again.
No, and they'll go out of fashion, won't they? There'll be new fashions by then.
Exactly. So just being able just to declutter and organise that is not only going to free up space, going to give you a better idea of what you own, what fits, what doesn't, season, colours and things like that. It also gives you, it takes away that pressure from yourself of being constantly reminded every day going into your wardrobe and thinking, I've got to fit into that, I've got to fit into that. And then it just makes the whole task of finding an outfit to find that day really depressing, and it can just kick off your anxiety before you even walk out the door. So I know for me, just accepting the size that I am at the moment and being able to say, right, realistically, I'm probably not going to be back in a size 10 or a size 12 anytime soon. I like food too much. I'm too busy to go to the gym all the time. I've got 3 children. I'm going to give these clothes to charity. And being able to offload that and be honest with myself, as well as do something good by giving them to charity,
That's
is
right.
such a big sense of self-achievement again. And it literally took me about half an hour. I just threw it all on the bed, sorted it out, and then it was done and dusted.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. I've actually color coded my wardrobe as well, like my bookshelf.
My
And every
wardrobe was
time
the same.
really?
Yeah, it's how I tend to organise clients' wardrobes as well. It would be colour coded in season,
Yeah.
and like occasion as well. Just makes it so much
Mm,
easier.
yeah.
Excuse me.
And there's something I read recently that said if you're not sure whether to throw something away, if you're not sure how much something is worth now, ask yourself, how much would I pay for this if I was buying it brand new right now? So if you're looking at all your clothes and you pull out a tatty old jumper, you're like, how much would I pay for this now? Like 50p, 60p, you know, in a charity shop. And if you
Exactly.
wouldn't pay that much for it, if you don't value it that much, then you could give it to somebody else. Somebody else might get the pleasure of it. So
Exactly. The best way of looking at it
yeah.
is holding it sounds really silly, but holding the item and asking yourself, does this make me feel good when I wear it? Does this give me joy? Does it make me happy? Or do I just wear it
Mm,
for comfort? Do I just wear it because
mm,
it's easy to put on? I know it's one of those go-to things. It may have holes in it, it could have stains on it, but is that your comfort blanket, so to speak? And if it doesn't bring you joy, if it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't make you feel good when you wear it, why are you keeping it? Because it's not going to make you feel any better about yourself. You need to get rid of it.
no, that's right. And I actually think looking at a streamlined wardrobe does give you more pleasure than having an overwhelming amount of choice in your, even with books, you know,
Definitely.
sometimes I'm like, which book am I going to pick up? You know, get rid of some of them.
Definitely.
So, mm. Right, what else do I
Definitely
want to
agree.
ask you? Um, how did you come to set up your business, by the way? So if there's anybody watching this, because it's quite an unusual business and it's like, it's
It
very
is.
niche. And, you know, I
It is.
think there are a lot of people, especially women, who want to branch out and become and have like a little side hustle, something on the side that gives
Yeah.
them a little bit of extra income. And so what you do, you've actually like created a business out of a very unusual skill. So how did that all come about for you? And how do you
So
make it
it was,
work?
yeah, it was just a literally a general conversation with a friend who at that point I hadn't actually met. We met on Instagram, and
Hmm.
we would frequent through my personal account, and we just
Hmm.
became friends. Our children are, my husband is black, so I've got three mixed race children, um, and where I live, it's a very white dominant community, and I would look for support in other places. So I found this lady on Instagram, and we just started chatting, and we're now very, very good friends. And we've actually now met in real life as well. And she was saying to me, "Oh, you should so do this for people." So I would help
Hmm.
family members out, like my mum and friends and things like that, and just give like general advice if people needed to, I don't know, declutter their wardrobe. They would ask me to help them, or if they needed help with storage in kids' rooms, I would always tend to get people asking me about it. And it was in a conversation after I'd had one of my major organising, decluttering moments. She was like, "You should so do this for people. People would actually pay you to organise their life." Um,
Hmm.
so I started looking into it, and kind of researching whether it would actually work. And it's really, really big in America. It's huge in America. There are a lot of professional organisers over there. There's only
Hmm.
a handful around the Cardiff area. I think there may even be one or two maximum, but London there are quite a lot more, as you could probably imagine.
Hmm.
And it kind of went from there really, and it was more of a it was definitely focused at organising your home, but because of my experience basically in business administration, I wanted to kind of do a whole service to organise your life. So
Hmm.
the organising and decluttering is only part of the service that we offer. I keep saying we, and it's just myself. It's a bad habit.
It's
Um,
all right.
but we offer a kind of like a three-tier service, basically, which we've got organise your home, organise your life, and organise your business. So the business side of things is basically business support. Is all about virtual assistant, remote working, so things like email management, diary management, travel management, invoicing, web design, and things like that to organize your business.
Hmm.
And then there's the organize your life part, which is your personal life, which we can help organize parties, help you implement like storage systems in your home, um, filing for your personal paperwork at home, so like things like insurance, bills, uh, important documents and things like that you would have. We find holidays for people. So it's basically a massive service to completely organise your life. And there's not something someone have asked me so far that we've not been able to do. Um,
Hmm.
One of the best things I've probably done so far was help to organise a party, and they wanted certain decorations, certain entertainment and things like that, and it turned out really, really well. And that's
Hmm.
just like one part of the service. So it's aimed at people who run really busy lives, who struggle to be able to find the time or the motivation to do it, or people who are just simply too overwhelmed to do it by themselves, and they need that motivation, that support, and that help to be able to get them to carry it out. So that's kind of where it all come from.
So you just started by sort of helping friends and family by giving away a
Yeah.
few freebies, getting some testimonials, and then, you know, then you start charging and you just sort of slowly build up from there. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So I started more focusing towards like the business administration side and web design. I'm pretty big passion of mine, building websites, maintaining them and things like that. Bit of contradiction because my website is actually down at the moment for maintenance, so you can't actually check out my website at the moment. But it's definitely taken off a bit more towards the organising and decluttering side of things, because I now also offer, it's kind of like a personal mentoring service. I offer calls. We can talk through what needs to be done, what you feel overwhelmed with, how I can help you, how you can help yourself. And if you're in the Cardiff or surrounding areas, we also offer obviously a personal service in your home to actually assist you with that. And if it's outside of those areas, we can actually put together a plan of action for you in manageable chunks for you to be able to go and work through yourselves. And then obviously we are there then. We have like maybe a weekly call or a catch-up, emails, texts, whichever the best method is for you. We would give you a catch-up, see how you're doing. Is there any support or advice we can give at that stage? So that's been a pretty good service as well, being able to help people and not actually have to be physically there in their homes.
Yeah, because you don't want to limit your business demographic, do you? You want to be able to reach out to as many people as possible and help them. So that's awesome. That's brilliant. And I think I'm really passionate about helping people who want to set up a side business. Just actually go ahead and do it. Like, don't think twice about it, because it will work. You know, I've proved that to myself. So many people who I speak to are doing it. It will work if you do a few freebies and then start charging. You know, you've got to test the water first, obviously, to find out if what you've got is what people want. But just going back to the decluttering side of things, what else did I want to ask you? Oh yes, what small habits can we take on to help our clutter not get, or let's say our domestic organisation? What small habits can we create to stop our domestic organisation from spiraling out of control? Have you got any top tips?
Probably, my top tips in general for getting started with decluttering and organising would be to make a list. Go through your house or apartment or flat or wherever you live or whatever area you want to declutter and make a list. And then basically just give yourself a set amount of time. 5 minutes is a really good starting point. Anything less, then it's not, you're not going to get that sense of self-achievement, because you can't really do much in less than 5 minutes. So starting with that is a really, really good starting point. You just basically just plan it out. You can plan it out over a week, you can plan it out over a month, or however long you want to do it. So you would just write a list of what you want to do, plan it in bite-sized chunks of 5 minutes, and if you're still really, really struggling, just set a timer for 5 minutes. As soon as that time is up, you can stop. And even though you've kind of begrudged doing it or dreaded doing it, you will still feel a sense of self-achievement. Even when I've been at like the lowest of low and having to force myself to do something, you will always get that sense of self-achievement. So they're the biggest things I would say to get started with. Another thing is to give every single thing a home in your house. So, for example, have a designated cupboard for mugs, glasses, and things like that. Have a designated cupboard for your dry food, so like cereals and things like that. Is a really, really good way of doing it as well. Another way, if you're organising books and clothes, as we've talked about, is to colour code things. But the biggest thing is to start off small, not to overwhelm yourself. Because as soon as you start to feel overwhelmed is when the anxiety is going to take over, and then you're not going to be able to manage to complete those tasks, and it's just going to go round in a vicious circle. Obviously that's not what you want.
So what in your professional opinion, what challenges, what resistances are there to people organising their home? I mean, I've gone out with guys before and there's just zero organisation. Like, they're just really, some people I know are really resistant to even doing a shopping list, to like looking
Yeah,
a little bit into the future to see, you know, what they might need on a particular day, especially when it comes to like food preparation. What
yeah.
resistances have you come across? Like, what excuses do people
um,
make for not having an organized life?
Mostly time. So the most of the time people contact me is because they say they simply don't have the time. But
Mm,
initially, it is going to take up your time to get your life organized because you've not done it before, basically.
mm,
So for example, when I had my son, my house got on top of me. He was very poorly, I was poorly, and it was very time consuming. So I would use that as an excuse to just let everything go, and then that would get on top of you. So time is a big, big excuse. Um,
mm,
some people generally don't have an hour to spare to be able to go into a room and completely declutter it. Another one is being overwhelmed by the amount to do. So instead of looking at things in small bite-sized chunks which are manageable, they look at the project in a whole, which is very daunting. If you're going to think, oh my God, my whole house is a mess, it needs organising, it needs decluttering, there's things everywhere, things are falling out of cupboards, things are stuffed under the beds, there's mouldy fridge in the food, in the fridge.
mm,
It's a big thing that's just going to send signals in your brain, I can't cope with this. So
mm,
that's another big excuse.
mm,
Well, another reason rather than excuse. And then the third one is I don't know where to start. Is
mm,
simply another one that I hear quite often. They have no idea how to do it, or how they should go about doing it. And that's why we come in, we help you to do it, show you, and then we can always make a plan of action going forward as well.
mm. Yeah, because I think that when you make things, daily tasks, convenient for yourself. There's this like thing in this book about habits that I read called the strategy of convenience. So if you
Yeah,
make tasks really convenient, like healthy habits, if you make them
yeah,
convenient, then you will do them. So, for example, like what I do is like on a Sunday, I work out, you know, how many meals I'm probably going to need for that week. Am I going out? Am I not going out? Um, Often it doesn't quite work out this way, but I sort of buy in what I need for the week and then write all my recipes. And then it's just a case of doing them. So I often find that's much more convenient. Keep it simple, you know, nothing crazy. Jamie's 5 minute meals, you know.
yeah,
Um, it's just so convenient to to do that. So I often find that is
yeah.
the best strategy, and it's difficult at first because, like, you know, it's a Sunday, you don't necessarily want to be spending time doing that task, but it does make the rest of the week so much easier. So it's like
It does.
paying it forward almost.
Definitely. And I find
Mm,
that at first it may be really difficult to do, but the more you do it, it just reinforces that positive behavior, and your brain thinks, oh, hang on a second, I'm seeing these rewards here. And then it's a circle. Instead of being a bad negative effect, it's having a good mental positive effect. So your brain is more than likely to repeat those good behaviors than
mm,
going back to not actually doing it at all. So the
mm,
first week, 2, 3 weeks may be really hard for you, but
mm.
after a couple of days, a couple of weeks, you're going to see those benefits,
Yeah.
and those positive behaviours reinforce, and it'll just come natural. I don't even second think organising the fridge after I've been shopping now. On a Sunday, everything is like uniforms get ironed for school, the meals get planned for the week, the shopping list gets done, and I know where I am. And that's something I automatically do now without even thinking, whereas before it was a bit of a chore, but now it's second nature.
Yeah, and that gives you pleasure and a sense of achievement, doesn't it? And a sense of being in
Definitely.
control, being in charge of your life rather than your life being in charge of you. So you
Yeah,
implement
definitely.
those strategies. Yeah, it's sort of it's like scheduling. There's a guy called he's the founder of Mind Valley, and every single 30 minutes of his life is scheduled, right down to like pleasure time, sex with his wife, reading a book.
Oh God.
It's all, I know, it's all scheduled, and that is how he lives his life. I don't think I could do that, because I think for a woman especially, we're very dictated by our cycle, our hormones, our mood swings, and also, you know, the weather
Yeah,
plays a big part in it. But I think if you can, to a certain extent, schedule, especially like in for things like paying the bills or doing your
definitely.
filing or answering emails, you know, just saying, right, I'm going to schedule half an hour every night just to do my filing, or it does make you feel more empowered, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I find the more I put something off, the more I dread doing it, and the more it gives me stress and anxiety. So if I plan my week on a Sunday evening, I know for a fact if I don't do it, that week is going to be really stressful, and I'm going to have really high anxiety, and it's just going to have a really negative knock-on effect in the family house, the atmosphere. So I know by just taking an hour out planning things, um, it's just gonna have a positive effect. And also I find by doing things on set days, not at set times or things like that, but having a rough idea of what I'm going to do. For example, I change the beds on a set day, I wash my hair on a set day,
So do
I
I. I
do
wash my
ironing
hair
on
on
a
Sunday
set
night.
day. So it's just really simple things like that you can put in place that will make your life so much easier and less stressful, especially when you've got children as well. Um,
Yeah,
it's a must. It's a must for
yeah,
me.
yeah. Yeah, amazing. It's a really, really cool topic. I really enjoy it. I mean, I've got a Virgo rising in my astrology, and apparently that is what makes me quite organized. So I don't know about you. Maybe it's the same for you.
It's definitely a good trait to have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, I think we're coming to the end of our session, and I just wanted to say a huge thank
Fabulous.
you to Danielle and Rachel, who's been
Thank you
watching,
very
and
much.
anyone else who's jumped on. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of people catching the replay. So, and I share this on YouTube as well, and you can have a copy for your socials. But for anyone who is
Fabulous.
watching, just remind us again of the name of your business and what's the best platform for people to follow you on, to contact you on, to keep abreast of all of your tips and tricks.
Okay, so we're called A Life More Organised on Instagram and Facebook, and the website is lifemoreorganised.com, but that's unfortunately down at the moment. Best place to follow us on is probably Instagram. I tend to post there on a daily basis with tips, hints, and things like that as well. But you can book direct through my website or on my Facebook page. And we currently have a 20% offer for everybody in the group, for any
Oh, thank
sessions and
you.
consultations that they may want to have, which may help some people
Oh,
out.
that's so kind of you. Thank you so much for doing that offer. That's really sweet. So
You are
snap that
more
up,
than
people.
welcome.
Brilliant. Thank you so
Get in there
much,
quick.
Danielle. Sorry, say that
You're
again.
most welcome. Thank you for having me.
No.
I said you're most
Oh,
welcome.
oh. We're all getting caught up with the time lag here, aren't we?
Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks a lot. Bye.